Also, I'm always learning about this. I think we're really we're at a time that we're emphasizing inclusion a lot, and I'm learning from people who are younger and more in tune with things than I am. And one of my new colleagues, Tobias Wiggins, I'm in a trans reading group that he's running, and he starts every meeting by having just kind of a moment of gathering ourselves, whether it's just sometimes he leads us in breathing exercises or relaxation exercises, and he always starts every thing by having us go around and introduce ourselves and say something about our accessibility needs. So we all are saying what we need from the hour, what we're expecting to get, and how we'd like to be addressed. And we all get our voice right at the start of the meeting. And it's a way of starting out a meeting with, okay, now we're all included. And so I'm always paying attention to how other people do these things and seeing what I can learn from them.
I think one thing that we see in data, for example, is that about 10 years ago, only 10% of the population identified in the rainbow community, and now it's 20%, and a huge majority of that is in the millennial and Gen Z population. And some of our DIA experts say that that's possibly because, there's more terms within that community where people can identify with, everywhere from non-binary to genderqueer, and allowing people to really self-identify more accurately, instead of just, male, female, gay, lesbian. You know what I mean? There's so much more, which is such a wonderful thing.
Interesting to look at kind of like the old story. And so Elizabeth talked about like the old story being, about power, and power really being about, um, the way that power was described and the way that we kind of see power isn't necessarily about making change as like someone like Martin Luther King would describe it. It's kind of seen to be more about like control, right, and authority. But this kind of strong power through physical strength, power through like hierarchical models, as opposed to where, and I think if COVID has taught us anything, right, it's really about working together. It's really about partnerships. And so then, she also went to compare kind of this kind of competitive nature, authoritarian nature versus like what we need more of, which is to be more interactive, and to collaborate more and to connect more and to listen more.
What I'm hearing and what I'm really pulling away from this conversation in this moment is vulnerability, humility, authenticity, empathy are such important factors in being our true self, but also understanding that 7.5 billion people uniquely are going through their own experience, but yet we're sharing this experience. So to have empathy as we move forward in these conversations, absolutely love the comment. And I do feel an internal dichotomy of hippie and redneck growing up in Kimberley. I sit on both sides of the fence. My dad would say, as a logger by trade, he would have said, that the greatest environmentalists are your loggers and people that work in industry, because their hands are on the environment every single day and they understand the effect of nature, weather, and human touch to the environment. At least that was his take on it, and he was a pretty well-read and well-lived man. But for me, it's like there's a lot of work that I need to do as well, because I often lean more onto the redneck side, where that does live on stubborn, arrogant, intolerant, this is my way, this is how I see the world. And I have to go to war with myself every single day to move more to that other side where I do practice empathy, understanding, becoming an active and curious listener, and not bestowing my opinion because I think what I've learned is right upon other people,